Hello out there. Welcome to the Heavy Montes podcast and my comedy show. Now, you see on my shirt here, we have morons are governing America. America. Heavy Montes is here to tell you that we have some despicable people running our country. But first, I want to talk about country and Western music. And everybody knows that Heavy Monty is a country and Western DJ. And one of the reasons why country and Western music is alive today is because of new talent. You understand? Okay? But have you tried to keep the old talent alive? People like George Strait, one of the best singers in the world. Troubadour is my favorite song by him. You understand? He got some good shit. All my exes live in frickin' Texas. But America, George Strait accepted an award from a pervert. Now, Tom Cruise, they called him up and said, hey, Trump's going to give you an award. He said, okay, I'll accept the award. But then he found out that Trump wasn't going to give it to him personally. And he said, oh, no. You can ruin your career because everything that Trump touches dies. You understand? Not physically, but I mean your career is over. You see what I'm saying? You're starving. You're unemployed. You don't have, a job. So, a maggot use anything, to separate us. Country and Western music shouldn't be used that way. Shouldn't be used that way to separate people because it's music. Music shouldn't be used. That shouldn't do that. So all you people who are associated with Trump and you're a musician, your career is in the tank. People are going to remember it. You see what I'm trying to tell you? People are going to remember what you're doing. So I want to say I will not play another George Strait record. Don't request it. I will not play any music for anyone who is associated with Donald Trump. Okay? Because every time I play it, I get sad. Music's supposed to make you happy. You're listening to a song that a pervert, a possible pedophile, a man who accepted awards from somebody like that. Now, Trump is proposing a $12 billion aid package for farmers hit by his trade war. You see what I'm trying to tell you? They voted for him overwhelmingly because they knew, and the guy said he needed to send us a check, one farmer said. These farmers, they said, who voted to put themselves in this condition, and now they want us to bail their ass out, but nobody's bailed out the American people. You understand? They're taking away your health care. You see what I'm trying to tell you, America? This is what we have: two countries here. Okay, one, the majority of liberals and minorities. White liberals and minorities, and we have those pigs in the South. Taking our money. You understand? And talking shit and give us a criminal freaking president. You see what I'm trying to tell you? So we should, Democrats block that shit. Don't send the motherfuckers no money. You know what I'm saying? These racist bastards, man, who did this, they were complicit in what they did to the Hispanics. They didn't stand up for the fucking Hispanics. So don't pick their fucking shit. Don't pick anything for those people. You would dishonor yourself if you were Hispanic if you do it. Huh? The country isn't worth a damn now the way it is right now. You're better off in fucking Mexico. Don't come here. Huh? Or you'll be treated like the American citizens. If a government treats their citizens like shit, what the hell you think they're going to do for you? You understand? Huh? Nothing. They'll rape your children the same goddamn way they'll rape, their own getting raped by people like Donald Trump, they say. Now, the Assembly of God Church, mainly a white church, I'm trying to tell you, it has been discovered that they have been raping and molesting little boys. A pastor for decades, he's been doing that shit because these institutions are put together as an institution of pedophilia. The Catholic Church, you understand? Huh? I ain't lying. The priest. I was in Alaska. I lived there, and there was a lady. I'm gonna call her name, Miss Maria. Okay, beautiful woman of German. Yeah, she was German, and she loved me. She was giving me her best cognac to drink. Her husband worked out on the slopes, so at the pipeline. So she was a kind of elderly woman, so I took care of her. So me and my daughter would go down and check on her, and anytime something happened, she would call me. You know what I'm saying? And she was the woman who took and turned on the bells at this church, this beautiful Catholic church across the street from my house. And one day I came over to the house, and she's crying, and I got upset. I thought maybe she was robbed or something happened. I didn't take care of her the way I should. Her husband would be mad at me. Shit, I'm supposed to be looking up for the old lady. I said, what's wrong? She said, man, the priests were raping children. And I got to get out of that religion. And I told her, I said to her, I didn't know what to say. You know, I didn't know what to say to this woman. Should I tell her to continue to be in that church and to, don't worry about it? But you have to worry about an institution that's raping your children. So let's go back to this Assembly of God. Now, some of the most famous white preachers were Assembly of God. You see what I'm trying to tell you? And they were raping your children. You understand? That Republican Party, including the Supreme Court, are one. Okay, they've been putting this shit together for a long time to undermine the great nation. But they couldn't find anybody to do it. But they found Donald Trump. Donald Trump is in so much legal trouble. Everybody got a piece of his stink ass. You know what I'm trying to say? And they said he's going to resign, and he needs to go. You see what I'm trying to say? So you have a religious organization, the Assembly of God, one of the biggest institutions, Pentecostal institutions. The Pentecostals are supposed to be the real religion, sleeping with your children, and you're still voting for these bastards. You people in the red states need to take, really, really look at what's going on. Now I'm going to talk about some people who have been suckered by the Republican Party, Hispanics, a few blacks. I'm trying to tell you, and the 57% back white women. That. But the one I want to bring up is the Minnesota Somalis. Their leaders endorsed Donald Trump, but they forgot they were black. Donald Trump said, I'm kicking them out. You understand? Because you're a color, your ass is gone. He hate black people. Now I'm going to talk about Sylvester Stallone. He made his money. A lot of black people love Sylvester Stallone. I ran up to the art museum in Philadelphia. I ran up the steps to where he did. You understand what I'm trying to tell you when I visited the museum in Philadelphia. Okay? Not no more. Huh? That show, The Tulsa King, nobody watched that shit. And it's a good show, The Tulsa King. You know what I'm saying? I love this guy. Not anymore. Okay? He's a Trumper. Okay, man. Now, I want to talk about Michael Mike Johnson, a closeted gay. You know what I'm saying? They say he loved pornography, gay pornography. The ultimate holiday gift that you can give the heavy Monte and everybody out there is to take over the House. Now, they said 20 of these Republicans are going to resign. Because let me tell you something. Donald Trump is losing his power. Donald Trump is a very sick man, America. Seriously. A very, very sick man. He can go any day, they say. You see what I'm trying to say? Death is knocking on his door. Bang, bang, bang. And Satan's there. Good job, my brother. Your ass gonna burn, Donald Trump, for killing all these fucking people that tell all these goddamn lies. So, America, I want to go on a little bit more. Now, they say that ABC, right? The ABC reporter asked Donald Trump a question. Okay, a legitimate question. He called her all kind of freaking names, And the Republicans are buying up all of the TV stations, news stations, buying up all the shit on the air, stuff like that, right? But they fucked up, excuse my language, because we are out here. You know what I'm saying? And even if YouTube go away, we'll find a platform to let everybody know the Republicans are low down dirty dogs and you can't trust a goddamn thing on the daily news. They're all owned by maggots. You see what I'm saying? So, don't vote for them. So now I'm going to go on a little bit more, America. Now, Donald Trump children. his son said this, Eric, Eric Trump. He said that my father literally saved Christianity, saved it so they could continue to rape the children. It was illegal to even say Merry Christmas. Oh, lie, motherfucker. Look at that. And now you can say it all the time because they play the maggots. These maggots, all you got to do is get their mind off of shit. And then they'll wake up in the morning broke, unemployed, and starving because they're stupid. So they say that Donald Trump got a new policy. He said, okay, you maggots, come on in. I'm going to invite a few of y'all in to talk to you, but leave your brains outside. I'll tell you what to do. I'm the king. Only I can fix it. America, the Supreme Court and the Republican Party has done us a favor. We just need to grab the power. They say that the president is powerful. Imagine a president that can fix shit. And I tell you what, I don't want any future Democratic president to force, stuff on these red states. If they don't want Social Security, we got to give them a way to opt out. If they don't want Obamacare, opt out. You understand? Build these blue states. Make them real good and take care of your people. Get education for the people. Make sure everybody can go to free college in your states and get an education so they can get a fucking job. Because the Republicans tell you don't need a job. You need a gun. The TikTok government that don't even exist. They are your enemy. They doing all this shit to you. You see what I'm trying to tell you, America? Doing all this stuff to you, and you still listening to them jokers, man. So anyway, I want to keep going here. Now, I want to talk about Donald Trump's reputation. 26 women have accused him of sexual assault or harassment. Okay? He lost a case civilly, got to pay some money on that, right? So we have this pervert and this possible pedophile. And now they're saying that he's going to resign because he said he can't stop the records from coming out, the Epstein records. And the Epstein records, they say they could possibly money laundering, and also they might have him on tape raping a woman. Huh? Is there a statute of limitation for raping a 12-year-old? You know what I'm saying? Is there a statute of limitation for doing that shit? You know what I'm saying? One woman said she'd get a deposition that she was raped, I understand. I don't know how true it is. But I can tell you one thing. Something is afoot here, America. Because Donald Trump would have let those files go. You know what I'm saying? He had all these FBI agents cleaning this shit. Now I'm going to talk about Cash Patel and that Dan Bondiano. They were the ones spreading that pedophile shit. Let me tell you, a low-down motherfucker, you're the FBI. You understand? And you were lying, about, and saying to people that you were going to protect the country from pedophiles. You found the pedophiles is Donald Trump, in my opinion. Okay? And you don't do anything. All of a sudden, it's all right. But Donald Trump did it. You see what I'm trying to say? But you was out there lying on the Democratic Party, saying that the Democratic Party was doing this stuff. And all the shit that they were saying is found out to be lies. Because that's what they do. They lie. They lie to you. And you believe that shit. And so that's the reason why we're in a whole lot of goddamn trouble. But the FBI, the two guys up top, they got in, they told us as podcasters when they make all this fucking money, okay, lying, saying that, the Democratic Party was a pedophile ring, created a fake ass religion, Q, you understand, all this shit, and lied to the American people and go tear up the fucking Capitol and taking part in all the fucking people, and you still hanging around with this son bitch? You understand? A crook? A crook. Huh? That man, they say, is a fucking rapist. So this is who the world look at us. And when the world look at us, they look at Trump. And everything that Trump touches die. And our country is dead. Huh? And it's going to be dead until we get rid of that fucking Supreme Court. Okay? And we want a full investigation of them motherfuckers. Huh? We want to find out what the hell we hiding shit for. I tell you why. Because the Democratic Party don't investigate the Republicans the way the Republicans do us. And the Republicans are doing crimes. But the Democratic Party try to respect you if you're a senator or you're a congressman, but not a Republican. Huh? We're going to arrest a senator. We're going to take in charge Adam Schiff. We're going to do all this shit when the Republican Party got people like Jim Jordan. You understand? Tom Cotton, that son of a bitch. I'm saying he want to be president. He makes $174 $1,000 a year. That man is a fucking psycho, in my opinion. Tom Cotton, Arkansas, though. Because Arkansas is stupid. They already know, the Sarah Huckabee type people. They already know, I'm trying to say that they're taking advantage of those poor people down there, lying to them, taking in the federal money, I'm saying, like Joe Manchin in West Virginia, a rich son of a bitch. I don't even, and he's walking for millions and millions of money. His daughter, making millions and millions of dollars a fucking year. You know what I'm saying? Working for a drug company, they tell me. You know what I'm saying? And this son of a bitch is out there, these Republicans, because they always infiltrate our party with somebody like Manchin, who can stop our shit. But we're coming back strong this time. And we will fix this shit. Only the Democrats alone can fix it. You understand? Now, the Republican Party and that mega Supreme Court, and that criminal organization, and they're doing it right in the open. They don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? They're doing it right in the open. They're playing for keeps, but they're losing. Because these senators, these Republican congressmen are going to resign. Because Donald Trump right now lost his pardon power. Because Donald Trump is not competent. Okay? Donald Trump cannot even do this by himself. If Donald Trump pardons somebody, it's mainly, a crook. Now, Donald Trump got a new job, in my opinion, as a fucking drug dealer. In my opinion, I think that motherfucker getting kickbacks from the drug people. He is pardoning all these big time people. A man bought 400 tons of cocaine into American drugs, and this motherfucker pardoned them, more than one. You see what I'm saying? At the same time, killing Hispanics. You see? And fishing boats illegally. Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, and that group are war criminals. You understand? They must go in front of the Hague and explain to the people why they killed these people. We demanded, Pete Hegseth. You understand? You may get a fucking pardon from Donald Trump, but you're not getting a pardon from the world, and you ain't gonna be able to travel. They'll arrest your fucking ass. And Donald Trump too. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump shouldn't be able to travel. He's a fucking convict. Regular convicts won't be able to leave the state. That motherfucker is a fucking convict. But he's white, they say. And he's God. So he can get away with this shit. So this is Heavy Monte for the Heavy Monte podcast and the Heavy Monte Comedy Show, talking about subscribers. Okay? We are well on our way to 1,000 in America. Keep on subscribing. You understand? Keep on subscribing to the Heavy Monte YouTube show, and never, ever vote for Republic. And in closing, the maggot churches, and the maggot institutions are places where your children can get hurt. Not, and they already have been hurt, huh? In the Assembly of God, this church, and you need, that's raping boys. In the Catholic Church, that's raping boys. You understand? And girls. You know what I'm saying? A president who they say is a fucking rapist. You understand? So never ever vote for a criminal Republican Party again, and have some fun, because the end is near. You understand? And now they face the final curtain. We're going to vote them out. The Supreme Court has given us all this fucking power. The office of the president said, Donald Trump will not be president for another 6 or 7 months. The motherfucker's sick. You understand? The devil ready to get him. The devil losing. And the devil don't like to lose. You need another man to come in. J.D. Vance. You see what I'm trying to tell you? Now, I'm going to have to talk about this now. If Donald Trump is found guilty of a crime, okay, his whole entire cabinet has to resign, including the vice president. You understand? That's the fucking law. The Supreme Court will probably try to circumvent it because they're scared. The Supreme Court don't want nobody to know what the fuck they're doing or what their fucking wives are doing. They're criminals, in my opinion, in America. That's why they're doing all this shit. Donald Trump blackmailed the motherfucker, I bet you. So if you don't take and do what I tell you, I'm going to tell everybody what your wife's doing. Clarence Thomas. You see, we all crooks together. If I go down, you go down. You see? And that's how Donald Trump do it. You see? So this is Heavy Monte saying never ever vote for Republican again, and laugh and have a good time. With those maggots, days are numbered. And please subscribe to the Heavy Monte YouTube channel. And remember, morons are governing America. They are not supremacists, white supremacists. They're inferior of poor hygiene. Vote Democrat and subscribe to the Heavy Montes YouTube channel. And have a great day, America.